Hello, Amit.
Hey Ben, how are you?
I'm very good. What about you?
Doing awesome.
That's an unusual way to talk with each other.
I know.
So many Zoom calls, so many meeting in conferences, but
I know.
never on a podcast
Yep,
studio.
yep,
But
yep.
it's gonna be fun. I think
Yep.
we're gonna enjoy it. It's we have so many chats with each other. I'll make this as is one of those
Exactly,
unusual,
exactly.
usual chat. So thanks first of all for being with us in Bali. I mean, you've been with folks from the very beginning when it was Algoland. Then you helped us. You took us by hand and helped us till this hand wasn't needed in a sense. And I'm really grateful for the help that you've given to folks over the years. I remember, like this accelerator, so many calls, like continuously. It's beautiful what we did together, and
Yeah.
I'm proud and happy that you were on our side. Thank you. First of all, how is Bali? How do you like it?
Bali is awesome. So this is my first time in Bali. It is lovely. I really didn't anticipate that it will be so good, and I think you guys were great hosts, and I think it was really fun to spend time with the entire team
Okay.
and see the energy and see how the team is coming together. I think for me that was as an investor, as somebody who has been with the journey early, as you were saying. That was one of the most satisfying things for me. It kind of made my journey worth it.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Thanks for coming. And of course, Amit is from Borderless Capital, the first and largest investors over folks in the years, multiple rounds. And Amit, just for those who doesn't know you, please introduce yourself a
Sure,
little bit, like who
sure,
you are, both on the working side, but maybe also what you like to do in your
sure,
spare time.
sure. Yeah, so I have been just a quick background. So I've been in investments for over a decade now. Been with Borderless coming to 6 years now. I was the first hire at Borderless when it started back in late 2018. Then became the first partner. And prior to Borderless, I was with another VC fund. Before that, I was in the US, did my MBA from there. Was working with a pension fund before I came back to India. Been in Web3 since 2016. And I think at Borderless, I think one of our core thesis, our core DNA is to find and back entrepreneurs early, strong entrepreneurs early. Again, when now things are very different. We have a team, we have everything. Back in the early days, everything, there is no structure, there is nothing. So how do we in that kind of unstructured environment? It's like finding diamonds in the rough. How you identify, find entrepreneurs who are like diamonds in the rough, and kind of polish them and be with them through the journey. So that's, I think, our core DNA. Most of the teams come from an entrepreneurial background, so we like to invest and work very closely with the entrepreneurs post the journey. So that's a quick background. Maybe like a quick thing about Borderless. So we have multiple funds. For example, Folks was from an investment from one of our earliest funds in kind of in the Algorand ecosystem. Then we also have a cross chain fund now, and we have a deepen thesis as well. So yeah, that's a quick background about me.
Thank you for that. And I know Borderless very well. I know you. It's very beautiful the way you support folks, but also other founders. That's unusual because, of course, we have also other investors, and sometimes this is, like underestimated the way an investor should help you. An investor should help you is not just with the money, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough selecting the money. I think it's never about how much money you raise, but from who you raise and
Yeah.
the way they're gonna support you. And I always say Borderless was our best investors and supported us a lot compared
Thank
to others. It can be even
you.
bigger names in terms of
Yeah, yeah.
reputation, but in the end, that's it, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
Borderless is a different story. And so you said about that you really liked to, we were happy to meet the team. Like, how did you see folks? Like, of course, most of the time you speak with me,
Yeah.
maybe Roman, but how was for you this, like
first meeting with the entire Fox team. By the way, it's the first time that we meet all together.
Yeah. I think I understand that we all were coming. The entire team was coming, especially you guys. You, the investor team, was coming from a very difficult time, very stressful time just after TG, right? I think there was like several days without sleeping, without eating. So I think this Bali strategy retreat was very well deserved, and it was needed to kind of take like a little bit of break, get the team together, and then go in with renewed energy. So I have been to actually several of these before, with several other portfolio companies and so on. But I think one thing which really stood out for me was how well the team gels together. So like a few things, right? So one is how young the team is. Like I was really surprised. Like for example, we were having that day the pizza night, and people would describe, like so many people shared how this was their first job, or when, for example, first maybe real job. They left something and they called you, and then they became a part of the team, and so that for me, like the energy in the team, how young they are. The second thing which really stood out for me was kind of how well they kind of we took that thing where everybody nominated someone else. I think it is like a Monday tradition.
Yes.
So everybody nominated someone else to speak. So I think and there was just this vibrant energy, like in every session. Even when we took the sessions, there was like a vibrant energy. Everybody was sharing stuff. It was very open. So everybody kind of understood, everybody felt it, almost felt more like a family than a actual working team, which I think is extremely rare. It's a culture we would love to have in more companies. And I think kudos to, I think, the way you have led and built the team, because it's extremely difficult to build that culture, right? And if you build that culture permeates and it takes the team much more forward. So I think that. And third thing was how again, I think again, like which I was telling the other day, the team was making jokes. They were making jokes about
Let's not say everything here.
yeah. So but the thing that I think the reason I kind of share, like how informal, like kind of like there was no formality that you have to show your face, or you have to kind of do this, you have to do that. It was and when you force something, it doesn't really come from the heart. I think I saw that the team genuinely wanted to spend time with each other. They genuinely wanted to come and ask questions, contribute to discussions, spend time with each other. I think that for me was I was very satisfying, and I was happy to see it go that way. So I think touch on wood, I knock on wood. I think we should try to kind of emulate this culture in other companies the way it has been built. Yeah.
I'm glad that you think this way, and if it is of inspiration for other portfolio company, it will make me even more proud, and I'm happy to give my advice if I can. I don't know. Yeah, it is for me. I really love my team. I think it's Folks is a baby for me, and the team is my biggest achievement, proudness. When I saw some of them growing in such a good way that I was talking with Claudio, and 23 years old, grown a page from few thousand followers to 130,000 at 23 years old, working for Folks for 4 years, So like, imagine when you are going to be 40, like how much things you're going to do in your life. Like when I was 23, I had other things in my mind, but it's great. And as Claudio, it's just an example. Many of them, they achieved a lot, especially during 2025. I was super demanding from them, but I always push this culture of we are all together, like going to achieve things together, and it's never a standalone work. And then, I think I was also, when we had this pizza night, very impressed by their thoughts. Like, then I digested a bit, and I'm like, wow, that's great things we do.
And do you, like, for example, when you build the team, hired, is there any particular like thing you looked at which kind of, now that you look back, now that we have this team together, when you look back, was there any particular quality kind of which you looked at
when you hired each of them?
I think it's a kind of gut feeling of feeling who is good fit for folks. And if you are not, you are naturally excluded. We had team members that joined, but naturally they left, you know, like they weren't for this. Maybe they were for another type of, but that doesn't mean they were bad. But any time that we hire someone, I'm the last one doing the job interview. And it's just about company culture. And I tell them, look, you're coming to work in a place where we need people with passion and contribution. If you are coming here for doing your 8 hours and then leaving, doing your task, that's not the right place. If you want to come here, we want you to be part of this family, and we need you being a critical mind, you know, like challenge, always go against, like that's what we need, not just, and I think you find this most of the time in those young minds that are eager to do things, are eager to learn. Sometimes I feel you just need to give them some empowerment, because sometimes you just finish university and you're like, okay, what I need to do? I need to learn everything. I don't know. But we are in crypto. We are still learning everything.
Yep.
So in our case, I think it plays a lot well. And if you just empower the right person in the right role, you can do very well. And I think that's something that we did well over time. Like you met Michael, for example. He joined Fox as a developer. He wanted to learn to be a developer. I said, okay, try. And then now he's my second after me in the decision making, in doing important things and leading with the team. It just was for me like, okay, Michael is very accurate in those things. He can help me. Like, he was kinda meeting the parts that I don't have. For example, I'm not very organized. He's super organized and he's super trustworthy for me. So yeah, I kind of feel that it becomes natural. And the more I lead folks and I have this experience, and the more I have this kind of gut feeling on, okay, what can I do with this new member? And also, like, when it's good, you also feel very quickly. So I think that's mainly the way.
But I do want to pinpoint, I think you said 2 points which I think are extremely critical, you know, for any founder kind of who kind of is listening to this, watching this, you know. The I would say the most critical skill you can develop as a founder is the ability to hire the right talent, you know. I think that is the most critical skill, because at the end of the day, the core thing that a founder has to do is, you know, build a complementary team, right? Build the engine which takes the company forwards. So I think, you know, developing that gut feel of real, again, you will make mistakes, but, you know, and keep making it natural. But, you know, the more you sharpen that gut feel that, hey, this person will be a right fit to the team, I think that skill for a founder is kind of very critical. And the second part you mentioned, like creating a culture where people naturally have a path upwards, you know. It's because it's very different, you know. In bigger companies you have structured roles. You work here, you know, product manager 3 years, then you become senior product manager, then you become director. In startups nothing like that works, you know. You can have somebody come and in 6 months, you know, he's there, and somebody is working for 6 years, he's still kind of at the starting point. So I think creating a natural environment where people, you know, kind of are challenged and they take the roles, I think that is that creating that environment, I think, is also extremely critical, which I think you have done very well here.
Well, I don't know what's the secret sauce about that, to be honest. I think it's just harmony, in a sense. Like, try to work with harmony, you know. Like, there were times where there were friction even between me and someone. You just need to work it out in an harmonic way. Like, otherwise, like, it's tough for showing up every day and doing difficult things, because it's not an easy job.
Definitely not.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, like, because you gave a speech to the team, and it was actually one of the team members asked you, like, what do you look specifically in a startup when you invest on a founder? Like, you gave us like a bit of a list. Like, I would like you to share with the audience, because I think it was very interesting to hear, and it can be very inspirational for many, because people sometimes, they might be afraid to starting their own startup, to reach out to you, to hear your, like, just give like a bit of direction of what you look for and what
Yeah,
they
yeah.
should do.
So yeah, I think uh, so there are some parameters. I think there is a big difference. So people a lot of times they confuse kind of growth stage investing, which is like series A plus or even private equity, versus early stage. So things become actually very different once you get into growth stage, like series A, series B. Okay, at that time it is more about the model has been proved, you have revenues, you have some past data, and you are basically taking a call on, okay, what is the TAM, SOM, how big is the addressable market, what is the clip rate, what has been the numbers, and can they replicate this model, which potentially they have done in, for example, like if you are doing for one protocol, can they replicate it across 10 protocols, or if you are doing in one city, can they replicate it across 100 cities? So that is a very I would say
Analytical.
analytical and there is a science behind it. There's an analytics behind it. I think where it becomes very interesting and difficult is when you come behind. When you come in the pre-seed stage. So that's where it becomes more of an art, because at that time it is just a founder with dreams in his mind and a pen in his pocket. I mean, that's it. There is nothing, right? Like, what a founder has. Usually founders, especially first-time founders, they sometimes are starting fresh. Like they don't have like loads of money. They have like dreams, and they have a pen, and they want to transform the world. So how do you identify the right kind of founders there? That is the real art kind of behind it, and which is what has kept me in this business. Hopefully if you are good at it, you do some nice bets, and if you are not good at it, automatically the market works in a way where you won't be able to continue for a long time. So I think what I was explaining the other day was, other than all the other aspects, okay, people talk about, okay, how big is the addressable market, who are the competitors, risk, financials, POCs. So all those things are things I think that is fairly well known, which people will find. I think when it comes down to it, I think like especially what I spend more time on, and the team spends most time on when we are discussing finalizing a decision, especially for pre-seed seed, is the founder and the team. That is the most critical, because more than I have yet to find a company at later stage which is doing exactly what they thought when they started. Most of the companies, like I think there's an exception, maybe one company or two companies like that, but otherwise every single company has to do pivots.
Of course, like let's take the Fox
Ex-
example. We started as lending protocol
yeah.
and Algorand, and now we are
It's
a lot
a
more
lot more
things.
things, exactly. So that is so you can't, and if you go back in time, you can't really tell at that time that, okay, 5 years later this is what folks will
So
become.
for what you would do analytics, right?
Exactly,
Doesn't make
exactly. There's
sense. Yeah.
nothing. So at that time, it is a call on the founder. Hey, do we can this? So there are three, especially like attributes, which I would say kind of, which I think at least I look at, which are helpful. And this is coming from, now we have like over 250 portfolio companies across several funds, and have seen, now we are also in a stage where some of our earlier funds have been harvesting rounds. A lot of companies, so investment, after the investment phase in VC funds, you get to the harvesting phase, and in the harvesting phase now we are coming to the last phase of the coming to the end of life cycle of certain funds, right? So you get to see a lot of companies shut down, some companies pivot, some companies get acquired. So this is kind of including the experience of all of those transactions and all of those things. So there are three attributes I would say. The biggest one, most critical, kind of we look at is integrity. I think okay, is the kind of because the it is very easy as a founder, like if a founder takes some wrong steps or gives the wrong direction, the entire thing goes for a mess, right? So I think that is actually one of the most critical things, like how and again, like and it is also very easy to do, like, because when the leadership has integrity, that automatically comes down to the entire team. So that is one. The second thing I would say is resilience, not giving up, because in your journey I think you would have come um, across so many times where you feel like throwing in the towel, right? And here there is a fine distinction between you know stupidity and resilience. So the idea is, if you know something is not working, right, at some point you have to draw a line. That is, so knowing the difference also is important. But a lot of times you will face challenge almost every hour, not day, every hour as a founder. So how resilient you are, especially in those extremely difficult times, to not give up. For example, even in the listing process, when you constantly hear no, right? No.
Yeah.
So as the whole, I think one of the other jobs of a founder is to convert a no into a yes. I think that's usually what happens, right? So integrity, resilience, and the third I would say is ability to identify talent and build a good team, which we spoke about earlier. I think these three things, the more validation we get early on, sometimes it is through multiple calls with them over a period of time. Sometimes it is the founder has already done some startups before, so we get to know from that. But I think other than everything else, all the other analytical and those things, these are the human elements, I think, which are extremely critical. uh, so and this I'm saying is, at least when I go back 10 years and try to distill, okay, for the companies which have done well, what went right? For the companies which have not done well, what went wrong? Why did we take the decision? So I would say these things stand out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating, and I agree in a lot of those things, and I can see myself backwards in time, and I can see also other founders. Like, of course, I had, like in my journey, in Folk's journey, I've seen other people starting together with me, taking different paths, good or bad for whatever it is. But I do agree a lot with yours, and it's in the end, it's also for you guts feeling a bit, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Because of this such an early stage. You don't have
Exactly.
numbers. You don't have things that you can do really, like the forecast, and you
It
just feel
is.
like this is a good founder, and you just go for it. Yeah.
Exactly. It is. So that's the beauty of it. That's where it becomes art rather than a science. It's like, identifying an art and buying it. It's same, like, how do you identify that this founder will do well? And you, after everything, after the basic things are done, it is definitely like an art. Yeah.
A lot of people ask me, because now I also, like, maybe I'm mentoring different accelerator program. They ask me suggestion, and then people are like, oh, how do I start my startup? I'm just saying them, you have to start from something, build a pitch deck, speak with someone. Like, people are sometimes dogmatizing this, like, you they look at a startup and they think Elon Musk. Just this is the example, right? But obviously this is an exception. But I think that you might be a good founder and you just don't know it. Like, personally, myself, if I look 6 years backwards, I wouldn't imagine this journey. But once I had the opportunity and I started it, it kind of felt natural to me to be leading a team, and I would never imagine this before. So yeah, I think that people should just do
Agree.
it.
Agree. I think there is something called as analysis paralysis, and sometimes people keep thinking, should I do it or not? Should I wait for more time? Should I get more validation? Um, uh, but I think the right thing, especially in kind of startup land, in a lot of decisions in early stage, you first do and then think,
Yeah.
to a lot of those things. Because if you keep thinking, sometimes these things are so time sensitive that if you don't act in time, that opportunity will go. So that part is critical. And I do want to build upon one thing you said. I think the other very satisfying thing for us, I think I had mentioned it the other day, and this I'm saying genuinely from my heart, like, like for a I have a small kid now, and I think it's very satisfying to see him grow, take his first steps, speak, and taking that analogy to founders we invest in. I think So kind of like the same as a child grows into adulthood, and then parents are taking care of the child, then you don't know, at some point the situation reverses where the child starts taking care of the parent. It's a very similar situation with portfolio companies, where in the early on, kind of, when the company is starting, you are investing in the founder, helping them, okay, do this, do that, speak to this person, making introductions, introducing other capital partners, maybe doing capital market introductions. And then slowly, without you realizing, the founder grows such big that they started making introductions for you. They started adding value to you. So I think, and that has happened, I think, with us as well, right? I think you have done a number of intros. You have spoken to for a lot of things. In fact, I think I have asked you, hey Ben, how is this happening? We jokingly say that I think at several points we were talking more to each other than with our better halves. So
Yes.
so the other thing, that part which you were saying about mentorship, I think it is very satisfying, where somebody who, as a kind of like similar like a child, you help them grow. So a founder which you help them grow, they have reached a point where they are actually helping you and they are helping others. So I think I just wanted to call that out. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate, and I think a lot of my um, leader entrepreneurial culture comes from you, from Borderless. Like, so much one to one with you and David. Like, it's taught me a lot. So
Yeah.
yes, of course. And another thing, like, maybe this is also interesting for the audience, because you are one of the most workaholic person I know. There is you, and then there is Asians, like Chinese, who they have built in the culture. There is no holiday, but your calendar is always open, available, always ready for a 15 minutes call, and in 15 minutes we can cover so much things and then get it done.
Yep.
How do you balance this in your life? Like, it's tough because I have it myself, right? And I think it's maybe also inspirational for the others, because obviously there isn't goal which is achieved without hard working. I think this is something that I always tell to my team, I tell to the others, and I also can spoil in founders. Let's say maybe right now I'm helping some founders with TG. But when I did the TG, as soon as I receive an indication of what to do, like, I remember I was in the Binance conference and someone said to me, you have to fill this new listing application. I took one of my guy and they say, you don't go out of here if we haven't done this. And the listing manager that we were about to submit this was there at the conference. I was like, look, you just sent me this. The guy is almost done. And he was like, wow, insane. Like, you just a few hours ago and you have it ready and your team member is at the conference working on the laptop. I think this is a key to success as well. How do you manage this in yourself? How you saw this in your life changing, and it's tough also.
No, I think that's a good point. And I think this is especially to maybe generally for anyone. I think even especially for founders, because founders, they have to work so much. It's very hard work. But I think the key thing happens is when. So this is what I tell a lot of people. When they are trying to identify what to do in life. Actually, let me tell you another thing. So when I got into VC, I got into investment. Even I was not sure what I want to do in life. And I was almost, I took like a huge pay cut, like a huge. In fact, I was working for without salary for several months.
Wow.
Just trying the thing out. Hey, is this something? And I had left a job which was paying very well. I was just trying it out, and I really loved it. So I think that for me is key. Like, if you do something, so try to identify, do something where you would do it even if you are not paid. If you really love doing something, like if you love singing, if you sing
For free.
even if you for free, and by chance, and then for then it doesn't feel like work. So for me, I really love talking with entrepreneurs. For me, it doesn't feel like I'm working, or okay, I'm not watching TV or doing this, but I'm working, or I'm not getting paid for speaking to this founder. So for me, it comes like, okay, this is something which I really enjoy doing. I would rather do that I would rather die talking to founders, so that, because that is something I really love. So that's the thing. Like, if you find something which you're really passionate about and just ask the question, would I do this even if I was not paid? Then then it doesn't feel like the distinction between work and play. And what happens is, then from your competition, if suppose you have competition who for them this is work, they will barely work 7-8 hours, right? So there are so many things like I don't do well, like drawing. I hate drawing. Like, if I draw, even I can't see it. So if somebody is say, okay, why can't you keep drawing, I will never be able to do it. I will never be able to beat someone who is an artist who loves to do it. So I think that's the key. I think if even as founders, if when you build something which you're really passionate about, and if you're deep in it, you would do it regardless of time in the world. And this, and that is I think really makes you stand out from anybody else, kind of.
That's very valuable and beautiful concept of putting effort into something that is a job, but it becomes also like a pleasure, right?
Exactly.
So, but how do you balance this in your life? You can't just work.
Yeah.
I'd say it's first time I see you a bit relaxing here in Bali. First time. I always seen you working.
Yeah, I think so I'm not the best at it. Trust me, like my family has told, like, hey, you got to balance a bit more. But I think so nothing can be achieved without hard work. That is a reality. Like, you need to work hard. And I think I take the kind of responsibility which we have with our portfolio founders kind of very seriously. And I think I'm getting little better at it. So I think, yeah, this maybe this is the right thing. The other thing which we had talked about that day is how you find balance, or how you kind of this. So one of the other critical things which I have started in the last few years, and I think it is very important for founders to inculcate, is the ability to say no. That is maybe one way to find balance, which I have started. Like, okay, so so kind of, again, in the hierarchy of things, early in life you feel that kind of money is the most important thing. Money is the most scarce thing. As you go ahead, you make a little bit of money, you feel that, okay, no, time is the most critical thing. Even if you throw money, you can't buy time. But then you reach a point where you have money, you have time. Like, you have time, you have money, but you don't have the energy to do it, or you don't have that motivation to do it. So that's when it becomes that, okay, having the energy, motivation to do it, that's the most scarcest resource. So I think that is something which I kind of I try to do. And one of the ways to preserve that is to say no to a lot of things. So kind of, if in the morning you get up and you say, okay, no, this is not needed, this is not needed, this is not needed, and just focus on, say, the most critical thing to do today, or maybe like the three most critical things, and say no to others. So you make, like, so generally what I do is I say, okay, these are the three most critical things. And usually what happens, I'm only able to do one or two of them, actually, most of the days. So even that is a big accomplishment. So, but that has helped, I think, find like a little bit of balance. But again, that is something which also I'm not very good at, I think. But I think it is extremely critical to have that, to be very candid. I think as founders, having the energy every day, because everybody else is looking up to you. And if you want to really experience it, I would say, have like one day when you are not there. And you will see, like, in a team, if you have one day where the CEO is not there, the leader is not there. And it's not about the title again. You can be a CEO but not a leader, and you can be a leader but not a CEO. So it's very important that the when I'm saying CEO, it's also the people who they view as leader, right? And if you take one day where that person is not there, the team goes into chaos. Nothing happens on that day. Some people do this, some people do that, and that just proves that how critical it is for the founder to be there. Just sometimes the presence of the founder kind of makes a huge difference. And that's why it is important to have that balance, and kind of take breaks. That is something which I'm still improving, kind of, which you rightly said.
No, but that's maybe you need a little bit more Bali.
Bali, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I think
it's important, of course,
Yeah.
to take some breaks in the life. Like what you just said, make me reflect a lot. Of course, I'm still in this maybe earlier stage when the energy there is, but maybe later on I would regret certain things. So I'll make a treasure of that. Thanks for saying this. Amit, what to say? It's it's amazing to have you
Yeah.
here. Thanks a lot for everything you do
Sure.
for folks, and hopefully we'll keep growing together.
Yeah, let's keep growing, and thanks so much for having me, man.
Of course.
Thanks.